What if I told you that everything you know about productivity is a lie? You might be thinking it means getting more done. I mean, after all, you've probably seen the motivational guys, the gurus, the experts screaming at your face, telling you, you need to go harder, you need to grind, hustle, because you, Elon Musk, and me all have the same 24 hours a day. After hearing that, you probably feel like a procrastinator, like a lazy slug. I know I do. You desperately are wanting to be productive. So you've turned and tried the world of productivity advice. You've watched videos. You've done the habits and the hacks, the routines, the list, all aimed at maximizing your output. But what if I told you that the way that you were approaching productivity and time management are flawed down to the foundation? Today, I'm going to dismantle these misconceptions and myths that I believe are what's causing a lot of burnout, procrastination, anxiety, or guilt that we are feeling on any given day. I'm sure you've probably said to yourself, I have to be productive. I have to maximize every second of my day. And then you never truly accomplish anything. By the end of this video, you're going to feel so much better. And I'm going to even give you my productivity routine, which is ironically going to allow you to get more done by doing less. More doesn't always equal better, it just equals more. And today, this is the best productivity advice no one has ever told you. But before I get into my routine and this advice, I want to talk about the three very, very important ways that we view these mindsets on what productivity is versus what it's not. Let's travel back to 1906. This Italian economist, which I know I'm going to mispronounce his name, Vilfredo Patrao, founded something fascinating in his garden. 20% of his pea pods were producing 80% of the peas. This is where the 80-20 rule was born. And that's what we know it as today. You might be familiar with it, and it shows us that it's popping up everywhere. 20% of the drivers causing 80% of the traffic. 20% of your personal effort generates 80% of the results. 20% of a sales staff is producing 80% of the sales. So how can we apply the principle to our own lives? Thinking about the hours you grind on your business, or only a few of those hours truly moving the needle? Here's the truth. Most of us waste 80% of our time on things that don't really matter. We're busy for the sake of being busy. We need to focus on the tasks that have the highest impact. Now on to another critical concept to think of. It's Parkinson's law, which states that work expands to fill the time available for its completion. If you set aside 10 hours to study, guess what? It'll take you 10 hours to study. But if you focus and set 2 hours, the most critical task will get done. I want you to take the action steps to applying the 80-20 rule and the Parkinson's law. I want you to identify 20% of the tasks that yield the most results and do those. And then I want you to set shorter, focused time blocks and deadlines to complete tasks more efficiently and effectively. Now, you may have heard of these concepts, but I want to share another concept that I've been meditating and applying to my life. But first, I want to share a personal story with you. Growing up in a lower middle class neighborhood, honestly between two rival Hispanic gangs, my family was constantly trying to make sense of life's challenges. You know, money, relationship, education, all the complexities of being a human being. But in such an environment, you learn to just get by. I mean, we were paycheck to paycheck, and you're just trying to survive, to pass the time. You don't ever question what's always been done. And this concept of personal space and time was pretty foreign to me. And the only moment I really had solitude with my thoughts was when I was alone in the shower, where I could really think and process my feelings and dreams. And as a boy, my idea of focus, time, and personal space was extremely off balance. Studying for a test meant constant interruptions and distractions from other people, and I had to train my brain to operate in short bursts. Something that Cal Newport calls fractured time. This is when you work in small bursts, quickly moving from one task to another, resulting in low quality work. It's that idea of multitasking that I truly feel like is a myth. And unfortunately, many creatives and leaders, we operate in this fractured time. trying to be everywhere, trying to do everything on social media, connecting with clients, attending seminars and workshops and podcasts and audiobooks. The result, we're always rushing and reacting and responding. And we were always asking, what can I do with those extra 20 minutes I have? It's fast, it's hectic, it's chaotic, leading to mediocre work. So what is the alternative? Cal Newport in his book suggests deep work mode. I know Dan Coe might call it monk mode. This happens when we have uninterrupted time to focus on a single task or activity. Successful intellectuals achieve their best work in deep work mode. Carl Jung wrote his great theories in this type of headspace. And Adam Grant, a leading expert in motivation, uses his deep work to write his best-selling books. So the action step here is to implement this deep work is I want you to schedule specific blocks of uninterrupted time for deep work. And I want you to minimize interruptions and protect this time as non-negotiable. You might think entrepreneurs don't do deep work, and you're right. Entrepreneurs respond to data and make decisions quickly, but creators and leaders need deep work to focus intensely on deep ideas, theology, ideologies, theories, and philosophies, to ask brave questions, to connect deeply, and to share thought-provoking stories. Creators and leaders are also coaches, and that is an intellectual craft that demands deep work. Yet creators and leaders who are also entrepreneurs and business owners need to be able to sell and enroll clients, handle administrative tasks, work on the business some, and post on social media. So which is better, fractured time or deep work? The answer is actually both. They fit together. They're like two sides of a coin. Deep work and fractured work together form a powerhouse pair. Adam Grant, for instance, will segment part of his year for mega chunks of writing and researching, and then he'll do other parts of the year in fractured time, teaching, handling students' questions, and attending meetings. Deep work actually helps him excel in fractured time mode, and vice versa. So the action step here is I want you to really think of doing both. To mastering deep work and fractured work, I want you to schedule your deep work sessions and your fractured sections, and this will maximize your productivity. Now, I have another story for you. There was a plumber who just started out, and his rate was like $150, $200 to unclog toilets. Talk about a crappy situation, but I digress. As he grew in his skill, the quicker he could unclog toilets, he noticed that there was a change in reaction from those clients once he developed this skill. What took hours now took minutes. And the moment that he went and told his prices to these customers, they were shocked. They were like, all you did was stick a thing in and boom, it was fixed like that. How is that worth this price? What people didn't understand, but what the plumber began to understand and what you should begin to understand is you aren't rewarded or compensated for your time. You are compensated and rewarded for the value that you bring. Don't trade your time for money. You should adopt the mindset of ROWE. ROWE, results only work environment, and apply that to your life. You will see how all these other concepts come into line. Deep work can happen in a shortened time when it's laser focused and distraction free. Stop seeing productivity as how many things I can get done and start seeing it as how can I do the right thing right now in the given time that I have. In my coaching program, I get asked a lot of my clients, some of you watching, have asked about my routine and schedule. And honestly, I've tried all the things. I once had a morning routine that was hours long, lots of meditation, lots of biohacking, the cold plunges. I've tried all those things. And what I've noticed is what will truly work as a schedule and a routine for you is not trying to fit in someone else's mold, but finding what time of day you're most effective and then leaning to the routine that works. You want to know what diet works? The one you stick with. You want to know what routine works? The one you stick with. You need to think about what's sustainable for the long term. Here's an example of mine. I wake up, wow, shocker. I wake up fairly early because I'm a morning person. I read my Bible and pray and meditate. And this section can last anywhere from 5 minutes to 30 to maybe an hour, depending on what time I have for that given day. And then next, I make a list of the top 3 to 5 things that I must do for that day. And then I ask myself, if this was the only thing that I did today, would I be satisfied? And I even take that a step further, and this is great. I would love for you to try this. I think of the serve, grow, create. It's 3 questions I ask myself for the day. Who can I serve today? What can I learn to grow today? And what can I create? If I've done those 3 things, then I have achieved my most productive self, my most productive day. Ultimately, the point is you've got to think about the why behind what you're being productive for. Remember, more isn't always better. It's just more. Now I can already hear my fellow creatives sighing and moaning and complaining because for whatever reason, us creatives, I identify with you as creatives to a degree, is you can feel like a plan and a schedule is more like a prison sentence. But I want to encourage you with this thought that innovation is inside the limitations. Like Parkinson's law mentioned, and the 80-20 rule mentioned, you'll be so surprised what will happen when you put those parameters, those guardrails around your life. You will truly thrive and be more creative and more innovative. What gets scheduled gets done. The secret to your success is hidden in your daily routine. My main point is if you want to thrive and not live overwhelmed, burnt out, procrastinating, ineffective, and inefficient life, then you must have systems, structures, and plans in place. And I really hope that you apply some of these concepts that we mentioned today. Planning and structure is a game changer. It's like having a budget for your money. Without a plan, time is wasted randomly on activities. You got to fix your focus. I want you to elbow your neighbor. Maybe it's your cat or your dog that's watching this. Elbow them and tell them, fix your focus. Find your system, plan your schedule. Time doesn't run you, you run your time. Now that you've learned how to structure your life to be more productive in a way that no one has ever taught you, there's still one more step that you can do to really crush and live your better than best life. So I want you to look up here. You see that? Go watch that video next to build skills in that area. And I will see you in the next video.